we've jacked up the excise on tobacco just to massively high levels, and it's $40 or whatever it is for a packet of cigarettes. I don't know. I don't buy
Wow.
cigarettes, but it's a lot of like $30 to $40 depending on how many
Wow.
cigarettes you get. And what's happening is it's actually encouraged a black market, and organized crime is in tobacco. And so
Yeah.
we've had there are all these gangland incidents. There are tobacco stores that haven't paid the, I don't know, the protection money, that are getting firebombed, right? And
Oh, wow.
I don't know if this is organized crime, but around the corner from me on Wickham Terrace, there was a tobacco and vape store that caught fire toward the end of last year, right? And so this is
Wow.
happening across Australia, and it's a consequence of excessive excise on tobacco. But yeah, I covered that in my one of my recent episodes on taxation. So I just thought you might be interested in that. I don't know if you've been following that at all.
No, I wasn't. Wow. I guess I shouldn't be surprised as an economist, but it's still kind of shocking anyway.
Yeah.
Another thing we should mention, whether you link to it or not, but, Frederic Bastiat's, sort of book,
Mm.
or his essay, I believe, where he talks about, unintended consequences, from these government policies. That would be the classic, and the unintended consequences are almost always bad. They're not usually good ones, right? So
Yeah.
I should even mention that, that can even segue into, people remembering that there's such thing as public choice economics, which ultimately talks about the economics of government and also government failure. That would be an example of government failure. And I don't think the public choice people use this language, but you know what? Externalities don't just exist in markets, they exist with governments as well. They have externalities, and they have a lot of negative externalities too, like this from their
Oh,
policies.
yeah. I mean, we've got multiple examples here in Australia at the moment. I mean, I'd love to bring Frederic Bastiat back, like Jurassic Park style, or however you do it. I don't know. Bring him back to Australia, and he could write about all of the, just the insanity. I mean, NDIS is the big problem we've got at the moment, and like
Oh,
it's
it's classic unintended consequences.
uh
Yeah.
and I don't know if the latest story is that, like, you've got all of these dodgy operators because they see, oh, there's this huge pot of money. Let's open up a disability support business, and then they find someone who's disabled, or they have a condition that gets them onto the NDIS, and then they're a money pot, right? They're, oh, this is a yeah, they're on the gravy train. This disability support agency that's essentially, getting a share of the package. And the worst case, and they're saying that there are some providers, they will go to the NDIS recipient, they will go to the ATM, the automatic teller machine, and they'll pull the money out, and then they'll sell them drugs. They'll sell the person they're supposed to be helping drugs. So there's at least
Oh,
one
wow.
or two cases of that. It's just yeah, and there are these reports of very high percentages of NDIS providers. So the businesses that are looking after the disabled people, managing their packages, they're, very large number, a huge amount of fraud, at least $2 billion worth of fraud. And it's just extraordinary.
Well, and it's just going to balloon anyway without all that sort of stuff
Yeah.
because remember originally just looking at the definition of disability in
Mm.
the legislation, it's so ridiculously broad. It's I think Dan Mitchell's had these good cartoons about like, like when you have like kind of mainly a market and it's kind of pulling a small cart of the welfare state, it can handle it. But then when then when it gets reversed, when like most everybody's on welfare, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.